Yo, what's going on, everyone? What's happening? I'm Waveomatic. I'm here at the Wave Garden behind the Wavo Lab, world famous Wavo Lab, and I wanted to introduce myself to the Chinese poppers and dancers, to the whole Chinese audience out there. Hey, thank you, Water. Water got a hold of me on Facebook. He asked me, Waveomatic, would like to really do an interview with you to get you and the Chinese dancers get acquainted. And I said, oh my gosh, it would be my honor to do this. Always wanted to get over there, or at least get in contact with people over there and really help and push this beautiful, beautiful style of waving. All right. Hey, big props, big props. Chinafunk.cn. I know they moved on to another website recently, but I looked over the site. Even though I don't read Chinese, I was very impressed with the content that's available and just the whole organization of it all. Yo, you guys, this West Coast dance and movement and hip hop is alive and well in China. Big props. Big props to all you guys out there, okay? I mean, from all aspects, from all elements, everything. You guys are getting busy, and I cannot wait to see it up close. But wow, I want to just say, hey, big pat on the back to everyone out there in China. All right, I'm Waveomatic. I'm known for waving, as my name says. And I'm from the harbor area of Los Angeles. And this part of Los Angeles was known for some of the best poppers. All right? And the harbor area includes Long Beach, Wilmington, Harbor City, Gardena, and San Pedro, Torrance, some other parts. Okay? But basically, these areas produce some of the most amazing poppers that you all heard of, like Boogaloo Shrimp and Poppin' Taco. And when the Electric Boogaloos moved from Fresno to Southern California, they moved to Long Beach, all right, which is in the harbor area. Then you had the Blue City Strutters, also later known as the rap group The Booyah Tribe, who was one of the first guys I've ever seen poppin' when I was a kid, and they're just a few blocks away from here, So this whole area was like a popping haven. It was, if we could all go into a time machine and go back like 32 years, you guys would be amazed at what was going on over here, okay? It was just something else. It was one of the best times of my life, all right? Now, I'm so honored to be able to do this interview with you guys, and I want to answer as many questions as I can, okay? Now, I started popping in 1979, all right? And I started by going to this park that's not too far from my house. It's called Scott Park. And there's a lot of Samoans there from the Polynesian island of Samoa. And these Samoans were dancing when I went there a lot. And particularly this one guy named David Allo I had seen, who I also went to school with. Well, he was locking a lot, and I mean, I had already known about locking because a lot of people were locking. But one day, I saw him go into this really different robot. Very isolated, mechanical. Every movement had some kind of logic to it. It wasn't just your robot dancing that you would see like on Soul Train or whatever. I mean, this was like mechanical, and it made mechanical sense. And when I saw that, I was like, what? I got to do that right there. So, I watched it. I ran home, went into my room and just tried to practice what I saw. And I mean, I did the best I could. And I kept going back to that park. One day, and I go back there, and I saw this guy also, he was roboting, and then he started, boom, hitting. Boom, boom. And I was like, what? And I heard this one other guy say, knock those bolts off of that robot. So that's the first time I ever saw like a contraction of the muscles, an actual, tension, a boom, 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 a hit, and I hadn't seen that before. And so that was really amazing. But one day, I go to that park. I'm like 12 years old now, okay? And one of the big Samoan guys sees me, who I kept watching them. And he calls me over there. It's like, come here. So, me, I'm a little kid. I go over there, right? So put your arms out. I was like, oh. All right, I put my arms out right away. I was scared. Put your arms out and do this. And I was like, what? Wow. So I put my arms out and I tried it and I did it pretty good for the first time, only seeing it then. He was like, do it again. I was like, oh shit, I did it again, and I felt maybe I'm not doing it right, and he's about to kick my ass, Do it again. So I did it again, and I kept trying a little smoother, I just felt it. It was natural in a sense almost, okay? He calls over a bigger guy, okay? Says, hey. I forgot the name of what he said, but come here. So I go, the other guy goes there, and I'm like, oh, now I'm really worried. I'm thinking, they're going to kick my ass. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing it all wrong, and I'm probably disrespecting the style or whatever they're showing me. So the bigger guy comes, and he says, show him, do it. So I did it again, and I just kept trying to do it better and better. The bigger guy just saw that. It's like, that was automatic. Your name is Waveomatic. Boom, I was like, wow, my name is Waveomatic. I remember going home that day from the park and just saying, my name is Waveomatic, my name is Waveomatic. I was so excited. It was like I was, baptized that day, like I was given a new name that day. And the journey, my journey in this game, even though it started before that, that day was that significant day where I knew waving was going to be my thing. Okay? Just knew it. All right? So yeah, that's how I got my name. And it was in Carson, California, at Scott Park. And I'm always grateful to those guys who did that. And a lot of the Samoans that got down at that park became really famous. And if you see the documentary, Breaking and Entering, there's a little part of that park where the Blue City Strutters, Blue City crew, get down. But I used to hang out over by the pool over there, by the pool where the park was. There's a swimming pool. And I used to get down over there with my boy Chili Willie. But yeah, let's take a look at another question here. What made you start dancing? Well, I I got into dancing ever since I was a little kid because I just loved it. You know, I loved watching the cartoons as a child, and I mimicked a lot of that stuff. A lot of the things I saw gave me ideas and inspiration to express myself, you know, because dance is one of the highest forms of self-expression, and it really allowed me to get creative and to be who I wanted to be with this dance. And it also allowed me to be a better person in this dance, because the more you express yourself creatively, the more positive you look at all parts of life. It really is true. Really is true. Okay? In your opinion, what's the most important thing in dance? That's another question. Well, in my opinion, the most important thing in dance is, number one, have fun. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have fun. Look, dance is one of the oldest forms of self-expression. Okay? Before man could talk, before man could write, they mimed and danced to communicate, to talk about dangers, to talk about the weather, to talk about love and pain and everything. We danced. In ancient civilizations, they danced for war. They danced for rain. They danced for many parts of their life, not just to have a good time, but to live. Dance was just as important as food and water to many civilizations. Now, waving is one of the oldest dances known, and every culture and every continent had waving. Like, for example, if you look in ancient Greece, the mimes, they used to go into like the ancient theaters, like the theater of Ephesus, and stand behind the actor's head and use their arm to wave it like this, and other arms. Why? To create the snakes of Medusa's head, you see. In China, you had things like the fish dance, where she would actually mimic the fish move and behind a silhouette of light. So you just saw this beautiful waving image. Even in China. In India, you had the snake dance from many of the southern tribes and cults, like the snake worshiping cult. They did a lot of waving in their dancing. Hey, belly dancing. The roots of belly dancing go far back, farther than even ancient Sumer. Sumerians were doing this, and it was called snake arms. This is waving, you guys. This is the same technique as in popping. What makes it different is when the music changes completely, so does the groove of that style, of that move. And that's why, even though it's the same muscles, the same technique, the music gave it a different approach. So it became a different dance. You see how that works? Because all these old dances, we manifest again into modern times. And that's the beauty of it. Maybe everything we do is not new. Maybe it's new to us. But what happens, and what's most important, is that every time that we pick something up, we're echoing our ancestors of the past. You see what I'm saying? We're all under that same beautiful tree of dance. And that's amazing. Let me get my piece of paper real fast here. Okay.